They're all about making winter lights that light up. Today we're going to be making the actual core of it, and then next week we're going to be getting mucky and getting all gluey, and we're going to wallpaper this properly. And then on the third week we're going to decorate it with all sorts of pretty colours. So, and feel free to just interrupt me if I'm just going on about something and you don't get it, because I've not explained properly. Don't worry about that.
Oh, we used to do that to one of our lecturers. He was the worst lecturer, and he didn't know the subjects. And it was the second to last lecture of the day. So it was about, I don't know, 6:30.
Yeah.
And basically, he'd turn up, he'd waffle on. The first 4 or 5 rows of the lecture theatre were empty because anybody who sat any closer would be vaporised by his breath. Anybody sat further away from that he couldn't focus on.
Yeah.
And somebody would always divert him. They'd ask a silly question to see if he'd go off on a tangent. And he always did.
Yeah. See if we can get them distracted.
Yeah, because in the end we thought he was that bad at the subject. We just all worked from the textbook. We found the set text, read the textbook, and thought, oh right, oh that's easy. From there on in, we just ignored him.
I remember certain people used to spit quite well as declaim from the top. Right. See what I'm doing here? I'm just make it a bit clearer. Just getting all the masking tape. Hopefully you've been given a bit of masking tape, or you've rummaged around and found it. It's always handy to just have 4 or 5 pieces on your table. I think that's about a very long finger's length. So I'm just putting 4 or 5 bits down on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make, and you don't have to make it along with me, you can make it later on, but we're making the inside of the lantern, which I don't know if you can see from this. Can't tell, but it's an X shape in the middle. Yeah, see those 2 lines going across. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get 2 very straight sticks. Be a good idea if they were the same length, because then I think some of them might need trimming slightly, but you know, that'll do. 2 the same. Cross them over. Obviously get them in the middle if you can. Now, a lot of people kind of struggle slightly with this. Some people prefer to put it on the table where they can see it and keep an eye on it, and then put a diagonal piece of masking tape across like that. Yeah, and then turn it over and sort of cross it around a little bit like that. You start fiddling around with it. So it goes round one side and then another. I don't know if I'm close enough. It looks like I'm miles away. Especially on a small, I've got a split screen here. So I don't know.
Are you looking okay from here?
Yeah, can you see?
Oh yeah,
Right, so that's that. It's across. And then we're going to make the stick that runs all the way through the middle. Now, when you get all adventurous with this, you can have all sorts of split stems that make different kind of shapes coming out from there. We made some giants that were about 5 meters high a few years ago, which was hilarious, trying to push them through the streets of Mossley. Big old things they were. So we're going to do the middle stick. Now, when you do it, I'm just using a Withy, which is just a 1-year-old piece of willow. They used to copy these ages ago, make baskets and all sorts out of them. It's a really sustainable form of making because it just grows in the ground, and any waste you can just put back in the ground. Obviously really good to get rid of any little bumps that that occur naturally. If there's any massive kinks, I've tried to select you some fairly decent Withy. So yeah, just get it straight. Now the reason I'm using this is because I don't want to poke my eyes out too much with the other one. So I could use this, couldn't I? Why not? Better turn the torch off. Checking it worked. There we go, off. So what we're going to do is attach this to this. This is quite an important part of the process. Obviously we don't want it falling about because a lot of things will sort of attach from here. So we're thinking about how big we want to make it. So I'd say if you want to make something that's about 50 centimetres, that's about 50 centimetres, you want to be about 30 centimetres down. Yeah. Obviously you can play around with this and you can pull things off and start again. Just get a knife if you don't like it and start again. So I'm going it's about the length of my hand there, from there to there, elbow to top. And I've been sensible, I've already got some pieces off so I can keep my hand where it is, instead of going to get this all the time and forgetting my hands. So with this, it can be quite tricky. You don't want a great big ball of tape. You only want a tiny piece. So you go across diagonally. You'll find your own. There's no perfect way, but there's neater ways than others. So the best way to do it is go diagonally one way and then diagonally the other. That's what I've found anyway. And to always have a few bits handy, so you're not putting it down all the time and it's getting all squashed. Do interrupt me if I'm missing anything out or you want me to repeat anything. So there it goes round again, like so. If you do it twice, it's really strong. If you want to make it last forever, you'd use a piece of wire at the angle, and you'd also use a bit of gaffer tape. Basically, gaffer tape works with everything. It holds houses up. No, it doesn't.
I once saw a box of duct tape, and it was a fresh box, and it said, I don't know, it had a part number, duct tape, and in brackets, not to be used on ducts.
Except when they really are being too noisy, and then you're allowed. So hopefully you shouldn't need loads and loads of these sticks, these straight sticks, but I've put about 8 in your packs. So that if you want to, you can do a very long one. You could do a floor standing one. If you had one there, and one there, you could have a nice sort of ellipse shape. Anyway, you've got some free sticks. What can I say? Merry Christmas to you all, I suppose. So take that out there. We know what that is. That's just a lanternish kind of shape. Got this handy thing here where I can put things in like that. So the next step is to take 2 of your Withys. Now these ones I've had in a bath for a while, but overnight is better. And what I'm going to do is going to take my secateurs, get a bit nearer. So you can see, take the safety off. What's up with it? There it is. Now some of your stuff might have a bit of I think I've cleaned them off at the end, but if they look a bit dirty, just pinch off that little bit of dirt. The same with the other one. Now, they should be fairly straight. What you're going to do is you're going to join them together. Oops. Fortunately, I've got 2 pieces already saved, just there. I'm going to poke my eye out with this in a minute. Right, so about that much, you know, like a thumb's length overlapping there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of tape at an angle. Yeah, you see it's at that kind of an angle because it's going to go up the stick and over the join. Round it goes. Round it goes. So there we've got one. And to save me putting it down, getting my tape up, all that kind of stuff, I've already got some ready. I'm not going to say that again, just get some ready. And then I'm putting it at that kind of an angle for the other side. Yeah? You can about see that one. Round and round it goes. Stops just about there. So you joined it like that. Super duper. Now the next thing is the exciting thing. You might have had a go at this at school or in workshops. I'm going to get closer up to you. Little table. Because this is a bit that people get, oh, it's not happening quickly enough, this. But don't worry, it's a slow process. So you'll feel, oh, hang on, it might break about there. Go along an inch at a time, or a kind of thumb at a time, as I like to say. And while you're doing this, you can watch the telly, do anything, but it's quite pleasing to feel it kind of ease into shape a bit.
Sorry, Mel, could I just quickly ask?
Yeah.
Is it both the long sticks that are stuck together? Is it one long and short stick stuck together?
It's just all the long sticks from now.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can't see the ends on on this screen, can you? I mean, once you've done this one, you can experiment with short and long, doing all sorts of stuff. But I'm just gonna go for this. So you can see how slow it is. And as I'm going further up, it's getting thinner. This is the bit that didn't get in the bath. So this is look what I've done. It's actually snapped. That's because I didn't, didn't wet it enough, did I? So what we do, get one of these, get a bandage, put it on, wrap it around. There we go. So it's a slow, oh God, it's a slow process. Might have to get another stick. It's quite warm in this room. So you're better off in a kind of damp environment. So we've got this kind of thing going on. I go back here. You can see the curve on that is really big. Obviously there's nothing going on with the other side, so I'm going to do the other side too. And try not to snap it like I just did, and just bend, be patient, and just think, well, you know, this isn't like drawing the line, this is going to take me a little while. Try and have it on the same kind of, what would you call it, same vertical as the other side, so they're both going the same way. There we go. Do. Well, this one's a bit better. The other one was a bit dry. I'm not hearing any snapping from Catherine. She must be doing a good job.
I've got my Mac on, have I?
That's all right then. So we've got that kind of a shape now. It's slightly weird. You can see it's going over one side more than the other, and we don't want it to do that. Well, I don't want a lopsided one, so I'm just gonna bend it, jiggle it, doobie doobie doo. so that we've got a kind of teardrop shape in the end, apart from that little bit that broke, but we won't mention that. That'll go down in history. So what we're going to do is we're going to think about putting it on here. Yeah? So this teardrop shape, I'm going to offer it up to our shape. Right, so that's quite big. So I'm going to make it a bit smaller than that. Can you see? Yeah, you can. Because we want it to touch these X shape, this X shape here. So I'm going to make it long and thin. Right. So a bit thinner. Doobie-doobie-doobie-doobie-doo, bounce, 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 round and round. And you can do that kind of effect as well. That has split fibres on the axis, and you can roll it as well. That's a technique. Like so. I mean, a lot of this in the video will get repeated quite a bit. So you just see me do the same thing about 8 times. So you might want to fast forward a bit because you'll just see how to do this 8 times. But I might do it in a different way next time, who knows. So if you want to make this sort of teardrop shape, what I did was I went, oh, that looks a little bit funny. That doesn't. So you're kind of holding it there and checking it like that. It's kind of important that that bit is right at the bottom because that will always be a bit flat and kind of ugly. We want to hide that a little bit. Oops, I've not torn any stuff off. You see how difficult it is when I don't tear it off. Everything at once. Okay, so bit of tape. There's your X. Hold it round so that it touches itself again on the other side. That way you know it's not going to go anywhere because this is under a bit of tension. Round like that one way. And guess what? We go round one way. The other way. Like so. Yeah. So that's how you make that. And if you're dying to use your snippers after all that bending, go ahead. Feeling with power. There. And these might be useful for something else. Don't know yet. Quite often the ends are very useful for making all sorts of little shapes within a shape. So you could pretend this hasn't got any stuff all over it, any paper. You can make all sorts of nice curved shapes on it. It's really nice curved. But yeah, make sure it's super, super wet. Try not to leave it for ages in the bath though, because it just start to sink and stuff like that. So you could just do that kind of thing, break it. Teeny. Anyway, back to what we're actually doing. Offering that up to there. And actually, before we do that, on these, we've got a hook. This was from Mostly Light Festival ages ago. We've got some left over. We get rid of that hook because we don't need it. You might want to use it at some point for hooking it up onto a fairy tree or something. Fairy tree, you know, Christmas tree or something. Anyway, there's a bit of wire there for you. So that's where our light is. That's where our crossover is. Now you can see there's a bit of a way for us to get those to meet there. So what I'm going to do, I think I might have to do that X a bit further down so that it actually meets. So I like to get it a bit round. So I'm just going to pull it off a bit and wiggle it down. There. I got that measurement a bit wrong. But the great thing about this is you can just take a bit of tape off and put it back on again. You know, it's not the end of the world. So we'll go for about there. That's about right. Okay, so take this on again. So it's proper. So yeah, how's it going, Catherine? We've got one person having a go. Yeah, you're on mute, so I don't know. Can't hear a word. Yeah, you're still on mute. That little.
I thought I'd done it the other way. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's looking nice. You're quicker on it than me.
I'm just. So have I got it in the top? Oh, you can't see the top, can you? There.
Yeah.
Is that enough for the top above the light? Can you see?
Yeah, I'd go right to the top of it.
Right to the very top.
Top of the bamboo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do.
Or, yeah, because you want the light to be sort of in the middle of your lantern.
In the middle. Okay. Right.
Give it a kind of glow. If it was bright at the top, it might look quite nice because it'd be very bright at the top and lower further down.
Yeah.
But I'm just doing it right up to
And
the
it has. Does it have to meet the cross bit? Do
Yeah.
the sides have to meet it?
It's better if it does because that's what's going to give it some.
It's going to touch it. So I need to do right. So I need to.
So you have to kind of juggle it around a bit.
Yeah.
Gets there. So one at the top, one at the sides.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape that at the top.
Oh, the arms are aching.
It's a good workout for your arms.
I know. And your fingers.
You've not usually got your arms up high.
Right, so that's a bit too big. Okay,
Yeah. So what I've done is attached it there, and I'm going to attach it there and there. Just let me get any tape.
Very well.
Once you get the first few bits on, it becomes less of a what the heck is this wobbly thing and more of a hang on, this is beginning to look like a kind of basket shape. It becomes tougher and tougher the more shapes you put on it. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting like 7 or 8 bits of tape, all about finger length. Fingerling. Bless you.
You.
Sorry, I didn't realise I was off mute. Thank you.
So, got loads of tape all cut out and put on the table to stop me messing about with tape. And then I'm going to twiddle this round. I can pull it slightly down. Yeah, well, actually, that's not meeting very well. Try that one. Yeah, that'll meet fine. Now, there's a bit of a gap for me. Don't know what it's like for you, Catherine, but can you see I've got a bit of a gap between them?
Yeah.
That's a mistake that I've made. But
Right.
don't worry about that, because what you can do, I'm showing you all the mistakes deliberately, by the way.
What?
Is you can just join them. Yeah, get your tape and put it on.
Okay. Right.
Because it's just taped there, I'm going to wrap it up a bit. So it's got 2 pieces of tape on it, that one. That one there, and another one's going to go over there. So basically I've done the teardrop shape a wee bit too big, but never mind.
Oh, gosh. I've jammed my. Oh, how did I do that?
They're not brand new, those things. They've had a bit of wear.
Oh dear.
Uh,
What's that there? Oh, there.
there it is.
Oh.
You get a bit sticky with gardening and stuff, don't they, secateurs? So that's what I'm doing there. Because I've done it a bit wonky, I'm going to touch it again for good luck. It's better if the sticks are touching, but it's only going to be a lantern for inside. It's not like it's going to... No, it's not, you're not building a yurt for the middle.
That next week?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can do that. Get a little business together selling yurts. And what else? Reindeer meat. Let's have some reindeer meat. So there we go. That's a kind of a start. So what I'm going to do now is do the other side. So we've got a 4-way thing going on. Obviously this one, it's got quite a lot more. The reason we do that, it just makes it super strong and it keeps the form. Also, when you're actually putting your tissue paper on it, you don't need huge, great big sheets that are all floppy. You can put nice little neat ones in, and you can decorate within the smaller shapes as well. You know, get some fine detail. So here I am with 2 more full length, about 5 foot odd twigs. A bit of dirt at the end. Let's chop that off just for fun. Something quite nice about that. I think if I was a gardener, I'd like to just prune everything. That'd be quite pleasant. So there's your. Would be helpful if I put them both together. Sticky. So yeah, this one again to just remind you, about the length of a thumb, about that much. Yeah. Then get your masking tape. Put it on at an angle. If you don't put it on at an angle, it doesn't go anywhere, and then you have to get another bit of tape. Yeah, so 45 degree. If you want to be super precise, you don't have to measure it, obviously. Right round. So it does that kind of palaver. Turn it round. If you're not ambidextrous like me and you're just right-handed, get another piece of tape. Now it's easier. Put it on there. Yeah. Wrap it through. Lovely. Now this twig, it's best not to go, yeah, like that kind of thing. It's best to do it bit by bit. What's on you's gone? Here we go. Round and round and round and round. So you can get all sorts of different coloured withies as well. I mean, willow grows all over the world, I should imagine, in sort of temperate kind of places. But you can get them with different stains, different barks. There's all sorts of ways you can decorate them eventually to catch the light. You can wrap them in all sorts of things. I was thinking, didn't have time for this one, but the actual length of it, you could put all sorts of coloured thread on the inside, or you could, you could put luminous paint on the inside. You could put a different colour. You could paint this in anything, car spray or whatever, before you put everything on if you didn't want this nice natural finish. Obviously you could put bits of tape on it at different points as well, so that you could perhaps hang things from it. So, you know, the world's your oyster with it, as long as what you put on the Withy shape, as long as what you put on this, basically the tissue will stick to. If it's plastic, then it's going to be a bit of a disaster. So something that's absorbent you can put on that before you decorate it further. When I was doing a carnival horse type thing, a big horse that you sort of wear on your back, and I was thinking about the face. I made it out of withies and just sprung metal and all sorts of different things, and then I put fabric inside it and then lit it like that. And the withies and these all looked a little bit, so I decided to just spray paint the lot, and it brought it all together, all the different materials. And of course you can then grade any kind of painting, so you could start from dark to very light, or luminous to non-luminous, or, you know, pink to red, yellow to green, anything you like. I've got a bit of a kink in it there, but I'm a bit scared of doing anything much to it there. Ooh, that's a bit, there we go. So those of you that aren't doing it now, hopefully you'll get some chance to do it a bit later on, before we have our second session. If not, no problem at all. Sometimes it's quite relaxing to watch other people doing a bit of work. So there we go. I've made a kind of bouncy shape. And you can run your finger along it now. Yeah. Doesn't actually, if you run along it from thick to thin, you can do that. Don't do it the other way, you might get a splinter. Right along, okay. And then like this. I mean, other people might have tips for how to do it, and there's all sorts of different ways of making things, you know, things that get passed down. So when you're thinking about, go back a bit, this is a tricky thing to get it looking symmetrical. Don't think, oh, how come I haven't been able to do it just straight away? You need that bit right at the top, so hold that bit there and hold that bit there, and then just come in equally on both sides. Now on this one, you can tell that I'm a bit out there, so I'll just poke that through. You see, makes it easier to do it. Yeah, right. So now, better line it up with this other one, see if I've got it right. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to make this one a bit bigger because it didn't quite fit, did it? Oh no, make it smaller. What am I about? Make it smaller. Again, so you might be able to see this, but I don't know if you can with all the colour going on. Hold it up. That's too massive, definitely. It's like with everything, it's, you know, measure twice, cut once. I'm going to change it by making it a bit smaller. And that's just about right. It's a bit tight, but let's give it a quite forgiving Withy. It's quite, you know, you can shove it about a bit. So
where would you get Withy from if they wanted some?
You could probably find it.
Oh, okay.
But obviously we can't destroy our wild places. We get them from a place, you know, not the Fens, but there's a place in Cornwall where it grows absolutely perfectly. It's damp, they've copied it for years. So it's a Cornish company that I can let you know about.
Great.
They sell it in great big bushels, so you get, you get a lifetime supply for one. And we've got some as well, so sometimes it's quite handy to go halves on things. If anyone was super keen, we might be able to do something there. So there's one. So yeah, we tend to get them from, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, down south they grow really well, where it's wet. I'm going to cut another one of these off and do it the other. So I've done it that way around, and now I'm going to do it that way around. One way and one another. And it's the same with the particular tissue that we use as well. We have to buy that from a particular place. They do sell them all over the shop, but it's kind of nice to get it from, you don't have to get shipping on it and all that kind of stuff. This is really tough. It's called, what is it called? Anyway, it's wet and dry. It's wet strength tissue paper. They use it in hairdressing a lot if you're having something done with your hair. I can't remember what. Coloured, that's it. Because it doesn't leak all over the place. So when they started doing that, this became really, really cheap. So quite often you can get it from hairdresser suppliers in bulk. But we just get it from whatever it's called, Cornish Withy.co.uk. I'll let you know what that place is. So yeah, we've got our thingy here. Now, you don't have to cut these ends off. You might want these on for a while. Hello, Kitty. Sophie's cat's come to say hello. What's she called?
This one's Agnes. Or Agnes.
Agnes.
Yeah.
That's a great name. Where's it from, Agnes?
Good question. Is it Scandinavian, maybe?
Sounds a bit Scandinavian, doesn't it? Agnes. So you can leave these on if you want a weird effect at the end. What I'm doing is I'm going to offer it up to this. But first, we cut some of this stuff off because there's no point going like that and like that 5 million times, is there? You've not broken anything yet, Catherine.
Oh, touch wood, no.
You're doing better than me. I broke it twice. Yeah, you can. That's a good thing. You can always touch wood, so you're always good.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I was going to ask, is it Kathy? Yeah. Oh no, Kelly. Sorry, my specs don't do me any favours. Have you done a lot of Withy making before?
Not a lot.
So,
We did the lanterns with Illuminate Festival at Oldham,
oh yeah.
and but they're not bent like this.
No. Did they
No.
do a triangle?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the tried and tested, everyone can do it kind of thing.
yeah, and we've done a bird feeder
Ah,
at a
out of
different.
Withy.
Yeah, it was at Alexander Park, some sort of open day or some fun day or something.
Yeah.
And it's a little bird feeder. It's never gone outside because my little girl likes it, so it's had to stay inside so it doesn't get ruined. But we did make one.
You have to get a bird prisoner then, bring it in your house.
We've got cats, we can't have a bird.
Oh no. Not unless it can look after itself anyway.
Yeah,
Crow,
a tough old bird.
So yeah, you can see what I've done there. So we've got two sort of teardrop elliptical type things, and you can see I've made it a bit better there. So it's, these sticks are going to touch. Right, that's good. So I'm going to make sure by looking down at it that I've got, and sticking my tongue out sideways. Yep, that's about right. Take a piece that you've already done. And once we've got this done, we're quite on our way to it being a 3D thing. Because we've got, yeah, all this to do. Yeah, I think straight withies are a fabulous construction thing for a start, but it's so nice to use the natural flex of the material, what the material can do beautifully more than any other is that shape going thinner and thinner, so you just get this parabola, this gorgeous curve. I like it. So we're doing one side, I'm going to do the other.
Is this kind of lantern making, Mel? Is it from a particular culture or tradition, or? You know?
No, I just thought I'd do it this way.
I just wondered if it's, you know, something that we've been doing in Britain for donkey's years, or I don't know.
There's a definite history of making this sort of a shape. I think the history is more in basket weaving. We used to sell lots and lots of basket type products. A lot of countries do because it's cheap. And sometimes people use bananas, banana leaves and all sorts of different things that are just part of their natural surroundings, really. And for us, it was withies because it's a wet, temperate climate. They come up every spring. You can coppice them and just get a field full of withies within. They grow like anything. It's like our bamboo, or, So yeah.
Boat building as well, I think.
Yeah, coracles and all that.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to mention that. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen Amy build a coracle.
Yeah, but basically any kind of construction. I suppose you could make a house out of. Well, you can make a yurt. Let's all make a yurt.
I end up living in it.
You can make a little outside gathering hut where you can socially distance and still have a great big umbrella over you. So I'm going round this at the top. Yeah, so you can see that. Isn't Catherine doing well? She's on it. She's on fire today, I tell you.
Soaping's underway as well. I can see some action in Soaping's window.
Oh yeah, she decided to start with the crossovers. Excellent. So you can see that's how I've made a start on that. On this one, I started off with just one layer, and then I thought, no, two looks better. I mean, you could do 3, you could do 4. Well, I'll tell you about the other one later on, but basically we're going to put 2 more on here, I think. At least 2. What are we doing for time? 10:48, that's great. Can we all stay till, say, past? Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bothered. Good. Because if you couldn't, I was going to go on about all the details that you can add to this to make it look really pretty. Anyway, let's get 2 more of these. So let's go over the process again. So you make 2 of these. You make 1 of these. You make, out of these 2 long withies, you will make 1, 2, 3. You make 4 of these. Yeah. It's quite exciting in this room. I keep nearly knocking everything off. And again, I think I've trimmed yours, but if I haven't, that's locked on. Give it a good old snip. And then again, you know you need loads of tape, so don't just cut one. Get them all done. So if you watch this again on video, you'll probably fast forward through this bit, which is repetitive. But then again, sometimes it's quite nice to watch stuff going on. Has anyone been watching the Bob Ross painting video?
Yes, I've watched some of them, but I saw them in the 80s.
Ah! I think I might have done, but I'm not admitting it. And yeah, it's all about building up a picture over time, isn't it?
And the trouble is, he does the same picture.
Yeah. Those awful colours.
The mountains, the trees, and the lake, and then a shed or a barn or what do you call it? Oh.
You know, he calls them an old shack. An old shack. Wandering around wherever you like.
And he does it in about 3 strokes.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Thanks. You made me feel great. You can do it in 3 strokes. So there we are. Again, that length. If you didn't see it the first time, or you're just rewinding it about that much. A small thumb overlap. Get your tape. And around. I like the way Bob Ross talks, though.
Oh yes.
You can
Apparently that's why people watch him, for a little bit of mindfulness. Just to listen to his voice.
Yeah, he says these sort of things like, it's your journey, you can put your tree wherever you want. And it's such a nice thing to say, because it's obviously true. But, you know, he's just got quite a nice relaxing voice. And
it's phthalo blue and phthalo green.
and his what is it? Titanium white. White. Is he Canadian? I'm not sure.
No, he's American, but he lived in Alaska, which is, of course, what he paints, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he's good at mountains, isn't he?
Yeah. But he was in the American Army, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did he go to Vietnam?
Well, I wonder, because I think he going to Alaska was a kind of a therapy, and painting, with getting into painting was a kind of a therapy. So I do wonder.
Yeah.
But he spent all his life in the army, most of it until, you know, quite late. He died soon after those videos were done.
Yes, he had cancer, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. Sad, really. But...
Yeah, sad. You seem to have...
And you can't buy his paintings.
Can't you?
No, they're very hard. Nobody, you know, he sold them all, but or they have a kind of some kind of foundation thing, but you very rarely get them on the market.
Right.
Apparently.
Never mind then.
But he did very well out of it.
It's strange, isn't it? Some people have such different jobs before they go into the arts, and you think, oh right, so you wanted to change your life then,
Yeah.
in a very psychological, psychologically, I suppose. There we go again. Got another one. Yeah. A smiley sort of shape. And if it's going a bit wonky that way, bend it up a bit. You're getting used to this now, getting a bit more carefree. Hopefully you can feel whether it's going to snap or not. There. Okay, that's another shape. So that's not quite right, so I'm going to adjust it, pull it in a bit more. So, as I said, I'm measuring it from the bottom by offering it up to it, right up to the top. Make sure it's the same as all the others, really. Yeah, that's about the same. As long as it's roughly the same. And thankfully I've still got some tape left on here, otherwise I'd have to let go and do it all over again. One way and then the other. Now what I'm going to start to do is start to do it a bit more like a cottage industry rather than a one-off project. So once you get that shape, bend that properly. You can put it on the table and then you can make as many shapes as you want by just offering it up to the table rather than up there, which is a bit of a faff. I'm really glad I found this base because I was messing about with it over here, flattening it and stuff. It's really handy to have. I don't know if you've got anything like that, but it's handy to work on. If you find anything like that in your house, I'd recommend you use it like that. So there's another one. And then we're going to do another one. Excellent.
You'll find it in the garage, it's an axle stand.
Yeah. Yeah, I found it in, because where we are at the moment, it's like a community arts building, and I'm in the little room off. But they do all sorts in the big room, and downstairs you can find all sorts of bits of all sorts of equipment and bits of odd things that you wouldn't normally find. I suppose you could get a plant pot out of your garden, turn it upside down and put it through the hole. That might be quite, you know, most people have got a few plant pots. Trim the ends. I've got a slightly you can see that it used to be a tree, or it wanted to be a tree at once. That's the end of it. So what I'll do with that, don't think you have any of those in, but I'll just trim that off. Then, do a few of these. Actually, I need a cup of tea. Looking at your cup of tea, Andy, I'm getting jealous.
I've just had one delivered as well, so I'm feeling very lucky.
Oh, that's a nice cup. Let's do that cup. Oh, that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it keeps things warm for a while.
They're massive. It's like having a meal every time you have a cup of tea. Great.
Nice. I wonder if there's a market for that solid tea, edible dinner tea. Would you like a slice of tea with your cake?
I had some tea bread made by Andy from Global Grooves, Andy, last week. And I've never had that before, where you soak the dried fruit in tea. That was lovely.
It's really nice, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, so Andy makes that, does he?
Yeah, very, very well.
I hope you encourage him to bring some next time.
Royal Navy cocoa. You can stand your spoon up in it. So my dad could tell me anyway.
And your spoon up in it. Aye. There's something about Northerners and gravy-like stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
It has to all be gravy. Right, I'm going to put that down.
Or if it's pudding, it's got to have custard.
Or other non-Newtonian fluids, as they call them. Oh. I've come here with my flask in order to not infect anybody with anything I might have. I don't think I've got anything. No. Cheers, everybody.
I remember reading an account of the first recorded account of the use of a stainless steel flask. And it was written by some guy, and he'd been on safari in Africa. And the account something like they were about to be attacked by a lion when his manservant scooped up the flask and threw it at the lion, which probably not hit it on the head and knocked the lion out. And then the footnote, and then we had tea.
Everything finishes for tea.
Has to be Yorkshire tea, though.
Yeah. It's strange how we take things from other cultures and communities. Oh, that's no good. Check that out. And then they become super that culture, don't they? Like, there's nothing more English or British than a cup of tea. Apparently they're making tea in Scotland now. Don't know if you saw that on the news. There's a particularly good and a Nepalese strand that's strong.
I know, it would have to be Nepalese, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You can't imagine it being made in Scotland. £3 a cup, mind. Don't know if I'll get with me with that kind of price.
I bet it's not made from girders, though.
No, I don't think I have had some iron brew ages ago. It has to be cold, doesn't it? Otherwise it's hideous.
Good hangover cure.
Yeah. You don't notice your hangover because you hate the taste of the iron brew. There we go. One, then another. And then try not to snap it now on your way down. Yeah.
Well, you can explain the sort of British appetite for curries. I think most of the most popular, until recently anyway, the most popular curries were actually invented by the British.
Well, the most popular over here, I should imagine.
The most popular over here, yes, of course. Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah, what is it? Is it a chicken booner or something?
I always understood that tikka masala doesn't exist in anywhere outside Britain.
Yeah.
Well, there was somebody once did a survey, and they sampled chicken tikka masala from goodness knows however many Indian restaurants across the country, and discovered that the only common ingredient was the chicken.
Yeah. I think we wanted the curries to be a bit wetter, didn't we?
I like them dry. I mean, I've been served sort of traditional Indian food. I was working once in an Indian community centre in Ashton. We were installing computers, and there was me and this guy from Tameside College.
Yeah.
And of course, they do a bit like a Sikh temple because it's a Hindu temple. But you turn up, they'll feed you. So they fed us.
Yeah.
But it was like there were two tables. And it was one for the men, one for the women. Apart from that, there was no other kind of demarcation. And I'm sat opposite this guy from the college, and they all started up this chant. And the guy was looking at me, and he said, "You think this is some kind of religious thing?" Well, it's either that or it's a Hindi version of Why Are We Waiting? But the food, it was all vegetarian, and it was absolutely delicious.
Yeah. Lily's is a lovely place to go.
Been there once.
Gujarati food.
Yes.
Vegetarian food.
Also,
Yeah.
we've discovered Vedic in, is it Hyde or Duckingfield? One of the two. Don't know if it's quite like Lily's, and it's really, really good. And they've been doing takeaways as well. So if you feel like you need a break from Lily's, Vedic.
Vedic.
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Describe the location.
Well, I don't know because we've only ever had takeaway and they've delivered.
Oh, right, I see.
But it's either Hyde or Duckingfield. I think it's Hyde, if I remember rightly.
A minute.
I walk to Hyde quite regularly.
I'm going to get the information off you later. So, you've got your original, which is on the table. Get your piece that you're working on. and just offer it up to it. Is it the right size? Yes, it is. That's good then. So about there. Oh, and I haven't. Well, I'll get those details off you, I think, Sophie.
Yes, I've just found the website. I'm putting it in the chat now.
Oh, you put it in the chat. Why not? Let's have a serious conversation about our...
Exactly, we've got to have the important things.
Absolutely. I don't think I've had a takeaway for months, you know. I don't think I have had a takeaway. It's all been, yeah, I'd love a takeaway. Yeah, we tend to just cook from scratch, but it can be a bit of a, oh, what should we have tonight kind of thing. Especially being a bit on the veggie side. There we go. Well, the weather's sorted itself out. It's a beautiful day now. There we go.
Gorgeous day here. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful and bright. So I've got 2 of those now. So what you could do is you could actually do 8 of those without putting them on. Then you know they're all the right size. If you want to, you can keep these strange bits on. I'm going to cut them off because it's going up to the ceiling in here. And also it gives me a sense of power. There we go. Right, remember to cut the right bit. There we go. And then I've got 2 teardrops. I used to do some work with Scouts, and we did a lot of these sorts of shapes within, because they're basically, they could be petals, they could be anything. We turned them into petals and made great big flowers. So with about 4 or 5 of those, you can make a flower shape around the outside, and then you can put a disc in the middle and then have the light coming from the disc in the middle. And they look quite nice.
Not the kind of thing we used to do in the Scouts.
No, well, it was they'd raised money for Mossley Carnival, Mossley Nightlight about 2 or 3 years ago, and they'd gone on a walk in the rain for ages, and you know, I went and did some workshops with them, and then they processed with them down the street. Yeah, I told them that they were triffid flowers to make them a bit more boyish for them. So they wouldn't think, I'm not making a flower, that's for girls.
Now, one of the guys volunteering on the canal boats, I recognised him straight off. He was one of our, I think he recognised me as well, but he was one of my old Scout leaders.
Oh. He's still doing community stuff then?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen him drive the boat yet. No, there are certain members of that crew who they don't really let near the tiller.
Right. Yeah, because they'll just, yeah. I think I went on a boat. I've been on quite a few boating holidays. I was on one when I was a kid in the Norfolk Broads, and my dad just went straight into a weir, which is not a good idea. You know, a big sign saying this way, but it's stranded on a weir in the middle.
It's something you get a feel for, and you either get a feel for it, you know, almost straight away, or you don't.
Yeah, left and right, major considerations. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm putting one in between the other 2, so we should have 8. I'm going to join the top. The top's getting a little bit clunky, I don't know about you, Catherine, but mine's getting a bit mucky at the top. There's all sorts of bits. I'm going to cover it up with something. I don't know what at the end. Probably a little pom-pom of sorts.
Oh, that'd be good. I've just bought a pom-pom maker.
Have you? Oh, we can put pom-poms all over. You have to show us. I remember making pom-poms at school. I think out of a cardboard.
Cardboard, yeah.
Yeah.
But I can recommend a pom-pom maker.
Ooh.
That is much quicker and easier. Got it in Aldi.
Of course.
But you do find these things in Aldi.
Yeah. The random things you find in Aldi.
Yeah.
So there we are. There's that lot. Now I'm going to put another one on. So it's getting much more built up looking. We're actually researching a lot of the history around Morris dancing and girls Morris dancing or women's Morris dancing, which they used to call fuzzy Morris or something like that, as a bit of a put down to the girls. And then they banned the girls because, you know, they weren't doing it right or something. And
Why
yeah,
did they ban them?
because it's just playing, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
You have to
No,
have
but
power over something.
No, I used to know someone who did that, and they just refer to it as clogging.
Yeah, why not? Well, it's clog dancing, isn't it? It doesn't have to be men's or anybody's.
so how many?
It was really interesting that the girl.
2, 3, 4. So we're going to do 8 altogether, are we?
1, 2, 3. No, we've actually done 6.
6. Okay, so 2 more.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm making it up. We're doing 4 of them.
4?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it looks like that underneath. Yeah. So you've got a split there.
Yeah.
Split
Okay.
there, split there, split there. So you're actually using 8 withies, but you're making.
Ah, right. I see. Okay. So have I done 4 then?
I don't know. Let's see. Have a look at yours.
I have done 4. I've got 2 here,
Cool.
and I've got 2 on already. So that's
Yeah.
it then. So I don't need to make any more. Okay.
Don't need to do any more.
Yeah, you can get make quite a few all at once, couldn't you? And just
Yeah.
carry on.
Just carry on all afternoon. What you want to know where the day's gone? Well, the process now, this is getting quite tough because we've got the bracing there. You could add a little bit more bracing, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a band around the middle, like I've done with that one. So you see the difference.
Outside. Yeah.
That one's got a couple of them, that one hasn't.
Right.
This makes it really tough because each point of contact has got more and more stuff in it. Obviously the best thing to do if you're thinking of structures is to make triangles, because triangular stuff is, if you look at any pylon, it's obviously stronger than anything that would be built out of a square shape. But for what we have in mind, this is it's pretty tough. Even bounces. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the middle bit sorted. We need maybe 2 for this. Now, quite a lot of people, when they're making, a lot of people make renewable fencing, all sort of farming stuff, little cradles for animals and stuff. They'll take 2 withies, turn them round so it's short then big at one end and short then big at the other, and then they'll twist them round each other really quite quickly, and then when you've done that, you've got that kind of twisty thing that you can do more or less anything with, and that makes it really strong. It makes it thicker, quicker. So some people will do 3 or 4 of these to make a really strong band shape round a basket or something, or if they're doing handles. Baskets will appear in front of you now. We've been talking about baskets. You'll see them in the shops and you go, ooh. And also you can do all sorts of knot work with them. If you steam it, or if you soak it for so long, but particularly if you steam it and you get it really hot, you can make any kind of shape you want with them.
Sculpture?
All sorts, yeah. I've made all sorts of. I made faces out of them that have got depth as well. So you've got an outer and an inner kind of face, so you can get lines that move in because they hook into things on the inside. Fiddly making hands though. Some people gave up on the fingers in the end.
Could you show me the base of your, where is it all at the bottom?
Yeah.
What's it looking like?
Oh.
Right, and sideways on? Because I'm getting a bit of a lump on my...
Oh, that's not there. Sorry.
Is that okay? Because I mean, well, you're going to get some, aren't you, anyway?
There, it's dead lumpy on mine.
Yeah, well, that's what mine's going to be as well.
Yeah, don't worry about that. It will be
Okay.
where they all cross.
I think it's because one of the ones, you know, where we've started overlapping and tying them together at the base,
Yeah.
it's not flat.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure it's flat, really, haven't you? And that one isn't.
And you can actually give it a twist round.
No, I mean the two ends that we overlapped at the base when we started off, before we started to bend them.
Yeah.
You've really got to have those flat, not on here. One is on top of the other, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, because then you do.
Yeah.
You'll just double your space then, won't
Yeah,
you?
well, the others are all right. It's just that second one I think I did. Or it might have been the first, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, so I'll have to remember that next time.
It shouldn't show up in the eventual thing.
No, right, okay.
But the neater you have it, the better.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
You see that one? That's pretty clunky, but it looks.
You wouldn't notice. I'll just put some bobs on.
Get your own bubble maker.
Bubble maker going.
Not bubble. Pom pom.
Pom-poms, that's what I meant, the bubble. Where's the bubble?
Right, so what was I up to? Yeah, I was blending this Withy, obviously, like we do all the time, really gently where it's thick. And if you feel like they're snapping all the time, it's because they're dry. Get them back in the shower or whatever. So we're going to use one thickness of Withy because we don't need it any stronger for this. And I think what we'll do. Light's blinding me here. What's going on? So. Just in there. Right, so you've kind of curled it. Now, what you want you to do, I shall say this, no, I'll say it a few times, is you curl it through. We're doing it on the inside because it looks so much nicer if you get longer lengths going upwards rather than layers of ribs going around the outside. It just doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing to my mind anyway. So then, shove all this stuff in here. You've got your circle on the inside. Yeah. Now, this can be a faff if you haven't seen it done. Confuse you. So that's what I've done. I've put a circle on the inside of it. You can put it on the outside. It's a bit easier, but I prefer to put it on the inside. One of the things you need to look out for is what kind of size you need to make it. So expand it as you're going along so that they will touch each of these uprights. So, right, I've got it about that much. I'll go in a little bit. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't touch all of them, but it's better a bit on the big side, because if it's on the big side, it helps push it out into a nice shape. So, oh, I didn't have any tape ready. I've got my hand stuck where it should be. So I'm going to have to do this sort of thing. That doesn't work. Try again. Following my own advice isn't happening. Here we go. There. Time. Oh, great. Right, we've got 10 minutes. That's just about right. So what I'm doing is I'm joining them. Yeah. Do it at an angle as normal. Join, 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 join. And then put them in, pull it down, tape it on, and do it twice. Yeah? You're nodding, Catherine, you look like you were getting me. Kelly, do you get it? Yeah? So one there, and then one further up. Or you can have it, you can put circles inside and put them at a weird angle like that. And then you get different kind of crossover shapes, as in this one has got,
Right, that's quite nice.
has got a line going like that. Thank you. You know, you don't have to do it exactly straight, but it's a good first thing to do to make sure it looks right. But what I did with this bit, what did I do? I think I had a couple of tear shapes left and I just put them in the inside, Catherine.
Mm.
You know, one way and one the other. And and you get all these sorts of different shapes.
I think it looks good like that.
Yeah. It's nice, isn't it? So mess about with it. You might want to put one in, just one sort of straight one in, just for now, to keep it all, you know, straight. And then put your other stuff in, and then snip this out afterwards.
Right.
You know, if you're not keen on the straight look, and you want something a bit more flowing. I
quite like that idea.
Yeah, I quite like it. And you can turn that into a smile if you like. You can put all sorts of shapes on it. Let's have a go. Oops. Yeah. So say we've got, stop bending over. Well, anything. Pretend this was really wet. We could get something out of it properly. So you could, if this was like this, in just a skeleton, I think it shows up more with the background. You can start doing all sorts of nice little shapes. You can make circles, and it adds something really quite nice at the end. What I'd like you to do for next time, these sections are a little bit large to paper. It would be better to have them about half that size, because when you put a flat piece of paper down on it, it just goes flirt. Mm-hmm. Just tighten up a bit, but if you can do it so that most of the spaces are smaller, like that, yeah. This is a very straightforward, this is, you know, bog standard kind of, that's the way you do it. You could do it like that, and then once you've got that strength in place, add all sorts of curves. If you want to add a sort of like a snail Fibonacci type thing, get any of that going, that would be nice. So anything, I mean, that is kind of okay, but it might be even nicer with something through the middle. Yeah. When we do something next time, I might do a bit of work on this one and then paper over it. So for next week, doesn't matter if you haven't done it, you just want to watch, but if you want to go through it with us, let's get one of these done. You've got them on sticks and ready for gluing and stuff. So you'll need a table of sorts that you're not proud of too much. That plastic that should have been in your handout thing, yeah, get that on the table, and also tape it down, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be spreading glue out on it. You know, your PVA that I gave you, that's going down on that with in your little plastic doozy what's it's. I couldn't find much sponge in the back room, so I've given you tiny bits, but obviously if you've got a bigger one, get a bigger one. It's a bit small, that. So what else? Yeah, have that. Also have some sharpish scissors with you, because we're going to be covering them, which will be fun. And yeah, I might even get this one a bit coloured in to give you a few ideas and get some lights on it as well. Yeah, so any oh no, look what I've done, I've just broken it. Oh no. Stupid car thing, car jack, but I can fix it. All these things are fixable. You just get some glue, put it on all over again. So next week we're going to be doing some gluing. Is anyone allergic to PVA? I hope not.
I would have found out by now.
You would have, yeah. You wouldn't have got through school without knowing, I don't think. So yeah, it's just get a table covered with something. Get some glue and some scissors. It's one of the things I found when I've done a lot of lantern making with groups and things, is you start off doing a bit of painting on one side, you roll it over, you do a lot of painting on the other side, you lift it up and it's all stuck to something. What a pain in the neck, and you just go round and round and round and round and round, and that's a bit disheartening, I think. So after you've done one side, what I'm going to get you to do is stick it into something like a plant pot. Yeah, so be finding something a bit like this that you can stand it up in. That's your homework for next week.
Just hang it from the ceiling.
Hey?
Just hang it from the ceiling.
Hang it from the... Yeah, why not? Especially if you've got some of these things on it, you can, and you've got a high ceiling, just stick it up there. Yeah, as long as you can reach it, why not? That'd be nice. We can see some swinging lanterns as well as hanging lanterns next week. Or, if your thermos is useful, you can stick it in there, but maybe not if you want to use it again. Are there any questions? Anything anyone wants to talk off about before we sort of finish off and have a brew?
No, I enjoyed that very much. Never used Willow before, so I've never done that before. That's great.
Smashing.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. I think one of the great things about it is it's sustainable and it forms such beautiful shapes that people don't use anymore. They just make them out straight. They pretend that they're straight sticks, but look at all the lovely shapes you can get. So, shall I see you all sometime soon? Next week?
Next week.
Next week. Okay. All right then. Any questions before we finish? Or if you want to just talk to Sophie about anything at all, What was it? Oh yeah, where that place is to eat. I've not looked on the chat. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, what's in the bottle?
What bottle? What bottle?
The bottle that came with the stuff. There's a bottle there with something in it, and I'm looking at it.
That's soya milk. Drink it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I shouldn't have put them in soya milk bottles. But it should be, a PVA should always be mixed 50-50 or a bit less. If it's coming out looking a bit thick, you want it watering because you want this.
Diluted PVA.
Yeah, it's 50-50, but dilute it a bit more for next time. All right, Callum. And then, because I didn't do it quite so much on this, it was quite thick. And the thinner you have it, the more the tissue stretches, so that when you put it on, when it dries, it goes drum tight and it's really strong. So you might want to just dilute your PVA up a little bit. But it's probably okay. I don't know how warm your houses are.
It like dope.
Like what?
Dope. It's what you use on an aircraft. If it's fabric covered or whatever, or a model aircraft, if it's paper covered, you cover the wing, and then you put this solution called dope on it, and it dries out and it tightens it.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens here. When I think it's like a nice it's polyvinyl acetate, so the vinyl gives it its real strength. I think. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know nothing about polyvinyl acetate. All right, I shall see you all next week.
Yeah.
Okay, cheerio.
Bye.
Bye.
If anyone has any questions in the meantime, just drop me a note and we can get it to Mel.
Okay, cheerio.